All right. Welcome to the Redefine Hustle podcast. My name is Lindsay, and I am pumped today to introduce our guest speaker. I am so excited to share her with you guys and hear all about how she got into subconscious and mindset work. So, this is Jen. Hello, hello. And Jen is a subconscious mindset coach. And there is so many, I believe, a lot of modalities that come with this type of work. So I'm excited to chat more. But first, tell me a little bit about you and how did you get into this work?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Lindsay. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, so my journey started a little over 10 years ago now. So back in 2012, I had been running my own business for a while. I'd had a consulting business. I worked with multi-million dollar companies. I had a degree in business. I was really good at numbers and finance and business and all that fun stuff. But I sucked at my own business. I was doing the hustle thing, which was not good. I was putting in 50, 60 hour plus weeks. I was working my ass off to try and get to those six-figure years. And it didn't seem like anything I did was working for me. It seemed like every time I took a step forward, I'd take 10 steps back. And so, being the farm kid that I am, growing up on the farm, you were always taught that just work hard, success will come. Like, success just is hard work. So, I kept working harder, working more. And then one day, I was at the hospital. I'd been having some major health concerns, and one of them being some really bad pain throughout my body that they couldn't figure out. So, I went to the hospital, was getting some x rays done. And I remember standing there, and the room just kind of started spinning. And I was thinking to myself, oh no, not again. And I'm like, oh, I'll just close my eyes for a second, it'll all go away. No, I closed my eyes and I passed out, hit my head, got a concussion at the hospital. Then I'm like all concerned because all these nurses and techs are over me. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to do this. And it was crazy. It's like, here I am apologizing to everyone else around me. And I'm the one that just passed out and I've been sick for months. There's all this stuff going on in my life. And it was just that wake up call that I needed to really look at my life and my business and reevaluate things and wonder, why the hell are some things so hard? Like, why is success so hard for me to attain? And at the time, I'm like, I can't keep going this way. I went and seen a doctor, and they're like, you've got complete adrenal burnout. Your body cannot function like this. If you keep going this way, you could be dead in the next couple of years. And this was just before my 30th birthday. So I'm not even that old, and I'm freaking out, going, oh my God, like, how is my life going to look if this is what's happening? So I decided to walk away from a lot of things, one of them being my business, and focusing on myself for a while and working on healing myself. And I say I started my personal development journey. I discovered personal development for the first time, and it changed my life. And in that tour of personal development, I discovered mindset work and the subconscious, and it completely changed who I was. I started to realize that I had all these limiting beliefs that told me I wasn't allowed to be successful. It wasn't available to me. I wasn't good enough or worthy of success. All these things were going on. Money had to be hard. It couldn't be easy. You had to work hard for money. All this BS crap that we tell ourselves was going on in my head. And because of those things, I wouldn't allow business to be easy. Because the thing was, when I first started my business, the first 6 months, I easily got like 5, 6 clients. I easily hit 50K. Everything was wonderful. But then I thought to myself, oh, this is easy. And then that's when everything shut off. And all of these realizations, I was like, holy crap, like, how did this happen to me? And then I got talking to others and realized I wasn't alone. And something inside of me told me, Jen, this is what you need to do with your life. You need to help others overcome this like you did. And through the power of hypnotherapy and other subconscious work, I was able to easily uncover all of these limiting beliefs. including a big one that I wasn't worthy of or deserving of success, which I actually created at 2 days of age. I literally had this belief my whole life that told me, you can't have good things, Jen. You're not worthy of good things. So I blocked all these good things for the first 30 years of my life, thinking I couldn't have them. And uncovering this and removing these beliefs completely opened my world. We're a little over 10 years later now, and my life has transformed. I have an amazing relationship. Back in the day, I was in a very toxic marriage. I have a business that gives me time and financial freedom both. I've got this life I couldn't imagine living even 10 years ago, let alone, my whole life. And it just keeps getting better and better. And it's all because I shifted my mindset. I worked on my limiting beliefs and I created this world for myself where absolutely as anything is possible. It's just a matter of, can I dream this big?
I love this. I'm sorry that it took a lot of health issues to get there, but sometimes I feel like that is a big piece that moves a lot of us into business. I know health was what moved me into business at a young age too. I was in had a bunch of health issues. So um but that is so cool how you found this. And so I'm curious, as you open the doors to personal growth while you were going through this healing journey, how did you come about finding that, oh, this was going on in your subconscious? Yeah, how did you come about that?
I always say it was divine intervention and that someone was looking out for me. So I had started that personal development journey and I was about a year or two in. And I remember thinking to myself, this was before Amazon, this was like pre that era. So I remember walking into an actual bookstore and walking to the personal development section like I had so many times prior to this. And something was just telling me, Jen, you need to go pick up a book today. And I'm like, okay. So I go into the bookstore and I was just divinely led, and something made me pick up this book called The Big Leap. And it said, you have to read this book. And I did, and it transformed my life. It was what introduced me to the whole world of mindset and the subconscious. Because before that, I was doing all this other personal development stuff, talking like learning about, divine and intuition and all this stuff, which was really good. And I needed those things, but I still felt like there was this disconnection. And then that's when I understood, oh, limiting beliefs in my mindset. And then just a few short weeks after reading that book and realizing my mindset was crappy, I had been working, but I had been really struggling to uncover what was going on in my mind. Because that's the thing about limiting beliefs. Sometimes they're so deep rooted and they're so traumatic and there's so much tied to them that we consciously don't even know what's going on. So I couldn't consciously think of, other than the normal stuff, what was my biggest block. And so, again, divine intervention, and someone happened to be running this contest giving away some free hypnosis sessions. And I was like, oh, I have to enter this. Well, lucky me, I won and did this session. And that's where this whole thing around not feeling worthy came up. And that it had started at just 2 days of age. And of course, we don't understand or remember things back that far. So I didn't even know this had happened. So uncovering that big belief that had literally held me back my whole life, I was like, this is crazy. This is insane. And it was just like this path forward after that. I was just bashing through limiting beliefs and negative thought patterns like they were nothing. And it finally got to be easy and fun. And I was like, wow, this is like the gold mine. Everyone has to know about this.
That is so cool. That is awesome to hear. So, what is hypnotherapy your main modality? Do you have other modalities that you serve in your coaching space for people?
Yeah, I would say hypnotherapy is the big one. I call it the big guns because it helps us to uncover and remove those big limiting beliefs that are getting in our way. Because, like I said, most of us don't even know what's going on in our mind. All we know is we're struggling to get on camera. Like every time we go to get a camera, we freeze, we procrastinate, we put it off, or we're procrastinating on doing the things in our business we know we need to, or there's all this stuff going on, and we're like, we don't want to be doing this, but we're doing it, or we don't know what we need to do. And so hypnotherapy really helps us uncover the whys and why we are the way we are, why we act, why we think, like that negative inner voice that's going on. It literally opens up the subconscious, which is the power system of our brain. That's where all our memories, all our belief systems, everything come from. And hypnotherapy just opens us up to accessing that. And then along with that, I use energetics, I use tapping, I use visualization, all these different modalities, different things depending on what people need the most in order to get the results that they need to help them to move through their limiting beliefs and their mindset issues as quickly and easily as possible. Because I'm all about things being easy now. I don't want to be sitting there in therapy for years. I did that. I tried that before I got introduced to mindset. I did the therapy thing for years, and yeah, it helped in a way. But the transformation I made, it was like 3 years worth of therapy in a month. That's how transformational the hypnotherapy is compared to some of the old conventional techniques. And that's where working with your subconscious is so powerful, is our conscious is only 5% of what goes on. The rest is in our subconscious. And if we don't address the subconscious, we don't get the real and lasting changes.
Yes, that is so, so good. So I want to ask you about to dive a little bit deeper into this work harder mindset. Because there's a lot of talk about that topic, work hard, work hard, work hard. And there's a lot of people that are out there doing just that because that's what they think. And I'm curious how, if you're able to share, like kind of how you went from that space and what that looks like, because we still have to take action, we still have to work, we still have to do things. And I think there can be I don't know if confusion is the right word. You might know where I'm going with this and already know what you want to say to this, but just like, well, I have to do all these things to get this, but you're suggesting if we dig into my subconscious and do some hypnotherapy, we could uncover these certain beliefs that make me think I need to do this hamster wheel thing, if you will. I'm so curious if you can kind of expand on this topic. This is such a big one.
Oh yeah, I love talking about this because I am so anti-hustle culture. It's crazy. I talk about this all the time, and I love that you have hustle in the name of your podcast because I'm like, oh yes, because I believe that we need to work hard. We need to do the work. We need the strategy. We need to do all those things, but we make it harder than we need to be because most of us that are entrepreneurs come from lower or middle class families where our parents, like if you're in your 30s or 40s, your parents were of that 70s, 80s, 90s generation where things didn't come easy. We couldn't work from home. We couldn't start online businesses. Starting your own business meant brick and mortar, something physical. We were trained. I don't know how many of you guys heard from your parents, you know what, work hard till you're 60, get a pension, then you can retire and enjoy life. We grew up in the era where we heard those things on a regular basis. And we get our belief systems from the things we hear and see going on around us. So in our world and our childhood, we're inundated with those belief systems. Like and even if the parents don't say anything, you see it. Like my dad, yes, he had his own business, but his business required him being there in the business, and it was very seasonal. So during the winter months when they were busy, there were days I wouldn't see him in the morning before I got up to go to school, and he wouldn't be home by the time I come home at night. So my family, we had a good living because of my dad's business, but we didn't see my dad very often because of it. So our childlike minds look at these things and make assumptions, especially before the age of 7 and 8. So by the age of 5, everything we learn is from the things we see, hear, absorb from all of our senses. And there's no rhyme or reason, there's no rational thought, because kids up to the age of 5 or 6 don't have rational thought. They don't have cause and effect thinking. They see something and they go, oh, daddy's gone all the time. Oh, we make lots of money, but daddy has to work all the time to make it happen. We create these beliefs based off of no fact or logic. And then between 5, 6, and 8, 9, before we create that cause and effect thinking, we continue to do that, but with a little bit of extra thought maybe behind it. So for myself and others who grew up in that era where we're told things like you have to work hard, we've seen our parents working hard, we've seen our family struggle with money, we've seen or heard our family talk about money is evil, rich people are evil. We take all those things we see and hear from around us from the influential people, and it's not just family, it's teachers, it's leaders, it's people with influence. Even as teenagers, we take that information and we store it in our subconscious, and this creates our belief systems. So by the time we're 18, we actually have 90 to 95% of our belief systems already there, ready to go. So when we're told at 18, oh, you're an adult now, go out and be who you want to be, that's BS, because we're already programmed to be who we're going to be. We already have most of our belief systems. And the only way to change that is to go in and remove those old belief systems that tell us we can't do the things and that this isn't available to us. So it's all about the things we see and hear in childhood that help us become who we are later. So those who grew up in rich families where, you know, dad was home all the time and he made all this money and he's buying me nice cars and he's doing all those things, yeah, those kids are going to have great money mindset because they had different influences and their parents said good things about money. The rest of us who've seen all this other stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s and beyond, we got different programs.
Okay, so good, first of all, so good. So let's just like, I just want to go into this direction for a minute because I have twins. They're 10. They're boys, and they have grown up with me as an entrepreneur working online all these years. And I am like listening to you share this thinking, I wonder what their program is. I really wonder because there's this part, and obviously, as we're talking through this, I'm still working through things like this because there's days where I'm like, this is like so simple. We're online, we're at home, we're able to create businesses that we love. We're able to, we have to learn skills and we have to get visible. We have to have the leads, right? We have to have these parts, these action steps, but there's also like this simplicity to it. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what my kids are gonna think and or how they will kind of approach as they get older because they're 10 now. So they're like 8 years out to 18, 19. Did I say that right? Yeah, 8 years. I had to think about that for a minute. And I'm wondering, do you see like kiddos that are being raised in this style of in this lifestyle, like looking at things differently?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely see it. And it's funny you mentioned twins because I love twin studies. So I also have a degree in psychology. I just finished it here in the last year. And I love twin studies because this really shows this work even better. So twin studies are great because in psychology, when they use twins, genetically twins are identical if they're the identical twins. So when they're doing studies on personality and psychology, they love using identical twins because genetically they're perfectly the same. So they can go in and look and go, okay, so you've got two children, identical makeup, growing up in the same household. And there's this old story I love to reference. So there's these two boys, twins, grow up in this family, dad's an alcoholic. And one of them grows up, goes on to do great things, very successful. The other one grows up to be an alcoholic himself. And when asked, why did you become successful? The guy goes, because of my father. And the other guy goes, well, why did you become, like, how did you become an alcoholic? And he goes, because of my father. So even twins, genetics, same makeup, can look at situations differently, can see different things, can pick up different things, hear different things, and take the exact same situation and create completely different lifestyles for themselves based off of one thing that happened in their life. And I see this a lot with this generation of children coming up in entrepreneurial homes is we're creating this belief system in our kids that's saying anything is possible. Like my generation, it was, yeah, you can have a business, but I hope you have a ton of money or can get loans or people to invest. Nowadays, we're seeing kids nowadays, 10, 11, are starting their own businesses. I see so many entrepreneurs are helping their kids start their businesses as kids before they're even into high school. I see parents showing their kids that this is available to them. They're home, moms are home with their kids. They're working while they're in school and they're home. They can take time off to go to events. I don't know how many times my dad missed school activities, and during all my big sporting events during school, I didn't get to do any of them because my mom didn't drive and my dad was always too busy. So nowadays, we're creating this system and these beliefs in these kids that anything is available to us. Look what my parents have done. Look at the money they're making. Look at the time they have. And this is amazing because we're now reprogramming the next generations that they can have wealth, they can have success, they don't have to work hard for money. Look at this generation doing it. And because of that, kids are starting younger and younger. That's why there's more and more TikTok influencers in their teens and younger. That's why there's parent and kid, YouTubers and things like that, is because these kids are realizing I can do anything at any time. You know what? I just have to find what I love to do and run with it, and I can be successful.
Oh, that's so good. I was super curious. I was thinking about this because my son, one of my, well, now they both have YouTube, but the one of mine who he's into, he's big into sports. He created a channel and he has been what they call what he does. It's not, he's not showing himself. It's like creative videos. It's very sports focused on like basketball and football and those sports. And he has so much engagement. And I keep looking at this and I'm like, keep building it because we can probably create a business from this. So it's really, and I always think about, every once in a while I'll hear like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not raising kids in these years. And I'm like, I'm not even worried about them. Like they got this. They've learned from me. I'm still here doing my thing. They're still here learning. Like I feel very confident that they're going to do great, when they get older, whether they decide to do college and do all of that stuff, or whether it's like going straight into being a business owner. I don't know what that looks like, but I feel really confident about that. So that's like so good to hear from you that like we're creating the right programs in them. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, just keep nurturing that. Just keep telling them everything's available to you. Anything is possible. You can do this. Like, if you just keep feeding them those belief systems and making sure that they understand that, they can take anything and make money from it, then they're just going to run with that and they're going to make it happen because they're not going to know any differently.
Yes, I totally agree. That's so good. So helpful. I hope everybody out there listening is hearing this. When I first, so I've been in business almost 13 years total, coming up next year, next spring. And I remember like that being the beginning of all of it, was those type of like anything is possible, dream big, like those big things. And then there comes moments where you have to make tough decisions, where you have to, where you do feel like it gets challenging, hard, whatever that looks like. Maybe it's the season, maybe it's the, um, what do I want to say? Like maybe pricing, perhaps, where people are like, oh, I can't afford, or I'm not even sure that I want to say that out loud on this. But I'm curious of your insight when you've kind of gone through, you've been programmed, so to speak, with that type of stuff, and then you kind of get hit with some hard stuff, like whether it's your health or whether it's you need to make a big decision. What would you suggest?
Yeah, so one of the big misconceptions of mindset is it's a one and done. Like you go in, you fix your limiting beliefs, they're done. But that's not the case because the saying goes, each new level is a new devil. So as we work through limiting beliefs and as we work through our programs, there's kind of what we call like a set point that those programs are good to. So, say you're a newer entrepreneur and your first big goal is 6 figures, but you're struggling to hit 6 figures. That's your first like glass ceiling. That's your first big goal that your belief systems don't align with. So, you have to go in and work through those limiting beliefs and your belief systems to get to that level of success because you're not in alignment with that 6 figure year. But once you remove all those limiting beliefs, once you reprogram yourself and then have the strategy go with it, then hitting that 6 figures gets to be easy. And then it's like that smooth sailing for a while. And you're like, okay, I got this. And then maybe your next class ceiling is 150K. So then you bump up against that 150K, and all of a sudden you're finding things are hard again, things are taking longer, you're procrastinating. Some of these old thought patterns, maybe little things are popping up here and there. And most people think, oh, well, I already worked through this. I'm fine. I'll just push through. But that's just a new layer. I like to explain it like a tissue box. So, say you have, like me, a belief system that you're not worthy and deserving of success. So, I'm going to move that old gross tissue that tells me that. I'm going to crumple it up and I'm going to toss it away. And I'm going to be great for a while. But then, you know what, a year from now, 6 months from now, another layer to that belief system may pop up. Maybe I was now worthy and deserving of 6 figures, but I'm not worthy and deserving of 150K. So then I got to go into that tissue box again and I got to pull out that next layer of that tissue. But you'll find the higher you get up in the success level, the more you work on this, the more successful you get, the less often you're doing it. But at first, these limiting beliefs are going to keep popping up regularly, but then you're going to hit that that 7 figure, multi 7 figure level. And maybe something only comes up once every few years. So it's not just the, I need to do this once and forget about it. It's the lifelong working on yourself, the personal development, the listening to those negative thought patterns and recognize it. Because that's the difference between someone just starting their mindset journey and someone farther along is when you're first starting out, you don't know why you're doing these things. You just know you're doing things you shouldn't be. But then later on, after you've done all this basic mindset work, you can easily spot these limiting beliefs popping up again. And it's like, oh, something's going on. I've got a limiting belief that's popping up. Okay, I need to go see Jen. I need to get I call them tune-ups to remove whatever's going on here. And then you get that tune-up and then you just sail through again. Maybe it's just one thing. Maybe it's a couple things you got to work on. And then you just smooth sailing for a while. So it's like these stages, these steps. It's like maybe hard to get up, but then it's smooth sailing. And then it's got to take that step up and then smooth sailing. So mindset work needs to be this lifelong thing, or you're not going to continue to grow and expand. You're going to find yourself getting stuck. And when people get stuck, they tend to think, this isn't for me. This is too hard. And then they give up. But I don't want people to give up. I want you to know that this is common. Everyone has it. Everybody in business, everybody in life has these limiting beliefs. The difference between those that have what they want and those that don't is those that have what they want are doing the work to bust through these to make that dream life possible.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was like the one thing that came up, and you kind of hit on it. It's like when the reality in your business, and this is like I think huge, at least in what I've worked with people, is like everybody's telling me no, they're not signing up, or like I already mentioned the price, but like there's objections coming up, people are telling me no, and it's like the reality is I'm getting told no. And it's like, how do you help them to keep going when they're in that like very, I don't want to call it a painful moment because rejection is part of the process, but like it's not fun.
Yeah, it's at very vulnerable times.
Uh-huh.
And so I like to ask people because quite often the things we're hearing are mirrors back to ourselves in our own belief system. So if someone's always saying, if asking about price, where are you price shopping? Where are you asking about price? Whatever it is, ask yourself, where am I feeling this? Where am I believing this? Where am I saying that? Like if I'm going out and hearing people say, oh, this is too expensive. Oh, I can't afford it. I think to myself and go, how often have I said I can't afford it recently? Like, how often have I said these things? How often have I heard this come out of my mouth or even hung out with people who believe this. Even if I myself am not saying these things, am I surrounded by people with those belief systems? Because again, energy attracts energy. So money is just energy. So if we're in an energy of everything is too expensive, like right now, everyone's stuck in this economy is shit and we're in a recession and nobody has money. Well, if you're around sharing these beliefs that nobody has money, nobody's spending money, nobody wants to buy anything, and you're surrounded by people like that and you're talking about these things, what's going to present itself in your world but people not being able to afford your things, people not wanting to spend extra money, people not wanting to invest in themselves. So even if it's not your belief system per se, it's the people around you that you're surrounding yourself with and the things that they're talking about. So start watching the things that you're saying, the things that you're thinking, and the people you're surrounding yourself with, and shifting out of that energy and start, being around those people and talking about how easy it gets to be and doing all those things and then working through the limiting beliefs that maybe are attached to it.
Ooh, ooh, that's so good. So to work through those beliefs, I'm assuming there are multiple different ways by working with you or journaling or doing all the above. I would love to point everybody back to you if you want to tell us where they can find you.
Yeah, there's so many different ways of working with things and it has to be really tailored because there's no one size fits all. It's not like that. There's no such thing as one size fits all for everybody. It's all custom tailored, but definitely hypnotherapy is a big part of it. And the thing about hypnotherapy is it can be so customized for every single person. That's the wonderful thing. Even the pre-recorded stuff is customized to people. It's insane. But if people want to learn more about the subconscious work and how it works and how it can transform your life, the best place to connect with me is on Instagram at the Six Figure Female Entrepreneur, or you can join my lovely new Facebook group, thanks to the lovely Lindsay,
Hey.
of female entrepreneurs creating time and financial freedom.
Awesome. Yeah. And we'll put that in the notes. I love my groups. You guys should definitely check her out. Go hang out. Like, this is going to be such a game changer in your business, in your life. This works for everything. Um, so I'm so thankful you've been here today with us to share. And I look forward to, I'm even in your Facebook group. I look forward to learning more and hearing more inside of there. I hope you guys all go and join Jen's group. Thank you so much for being on. Is there anything else you want to add before we go?
Just leave the audience with a final thought. Just know that anything you desire, anything you dream is available to you. If you couldn't dream it, it wouldn't be available. So go out and make it happen. Don't let anything stand in your way.
So good. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.